sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, Sadhu, Sadhu. Friends, last week we studied about the um, precepts. We talked about the purity and impurity according to the Buddhist discipline. And we wanted to learn that because the mindfulness is based on the ethical conduct according to the Buddhist teachings. So it said that while we observe the training rules or precepts, so these are helping us to grow our mindfulness. Um, and also we studied about the wisdom, the power of wisdom. There we learned that the wisdom means that the ability to distinguish what is skillful and what is unskillful. And also, as we know that the wisdom, the fruition of the wisdom means the complete liberation and knowledge of the impermanence and knowledge of the unsatisfactoriness and the not-self, and also understanding the Four Noble Truths. And with the similes, we learned that wisdom is like a light that support us to awaken ourselves, to see the true nature of ourselves. Um, and all these teachings are connected with each other. There are connections. Now, we were in the Satipatthana Sutta and we already learned about a few meditations, and we still in the meditation of the postures, um, the full awareness. We came to the third meditation, full awareness meditation, and we studied about the full awareness, and it goes much more details, like it go much more deeper into the teachings when we explore about the full awareness. It is not just being aware, but we learned that it is a way that we cultivate our wisdom in our day-to-day lives. Um, can somebody tell me what is full awareness? How the instructions went according to the teachings? How do we develop full awareness? Just for the conversation and just for um, clear our thoughts and to recall. How do you say about the full awareness?
It's like being aware even when like moving your hands, not only sitting, standing, lying down, but
Yeah,
in every moment, small moments when we stretch the hands or just bend the leg, be aware that what we are doing.
yes. Um, um, so what is the wisdom there? Is it
Yeah.
cultivating wisdom?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
when we give attention, awareness on those moments, then we'll be avoiding like unskillful thoughts in our mind
yeah,
and being in very present moment.
Yes, very good. Okay, friends. Today we study more about the wisdom and also about the training rules, training precepts. Before we study that, we need to know that the the tradition and the culture that they had in the Buddhist time. So, according to the Buddhist time, there was little difference from nowadays. So it is related to the way of the life that they had in that period. So there can be some uh, complications when we get that to nowadays. I mean, with the way that the Buddha taught, that doesn't mean this teaching is not applicable today, but I mean there can be the context that they had in during that time compared to today. Now, normally when a Buddha was enlightened, what Buddha do is, if that is a Samma Sambuddha, so Buddha establishes the Buddha's order, which means it is a way that Buddha presents the teachings to the people. And then, if there is someone who would like to dedicate their entire life to keep on practicing the teachings, what they do is that they enter to the Buddha's order, the order of monks. If that is a male, so they enter to the order of monks. And also there is the order of the nuns. And well, still Buddha keeps on teaching and instructing those two disciples, and the Buddha live with them, and the Buddha give the meditations, and Buddha try to put the discipline uh, among the monks and the nuns community, and also for the householders. But here there is a bond in between the Buddha and the other monks and nuns, and also lay men and lay women. There is a bond together there. So that is how Buddha keep enlightening them by through the teachings. And also Buddha doesn't give up that community, and Buddha doesn't say to go away, but Buddha keep live with them by instructing them for their growth in their practice. Now, among the like what I know according to the monks community is that there are the rules that Buddha laid for the purpose of uh, helping the monks to attain enlightenment. So that is why there is this uh, precepts. So the Buddha say there are things that you should avoid. There are things that you should cultivate. For an example, let's say there is a person who uh, harming living beings. So what Buddha do is that Buddha lay the training precept. You should not harm the living beings. Now on, you don't harm the living being. So there can, for all the training rules, there was a special reason. Now the reason why Buddha laid the uh, abstaining from killing beings is because there was a monk who killed a living being. So then Buddha gathered all the monks and said, today on you don't kill the living beings. So that is more like not a rule, but like an instruction, a guidance Buddha gave. Because Buddha said this does not help to your mindfulness. This does not help to your awakening. And this can also bring others an example so that the others following you will also gonna commit that in the future, and that way you won't be able to successfully attain the goal in the teachings, so you avoid that. And again, there was a person who, the monk, who's tall, so he wanted to make like a kuti, a room. So what he did was that he stole the woods, some woods, and that belonged to the king. And then this monk stole that and he made the room. And Buddha asked, "Why did you stole that?" So he said, "I thought it is not belong to anyone, but it was." like possessed by the king. It was belonged to the king. So then the king didn't harm him, but king said it's not proper. Then thereon, Buddha said you should not take what is not given. And later also, when the people get to know about this monk was committed such a stealing, the people also started to insult the monk and said, look, there were many other religious practitioners also. Then they started to like to say that look, the disciples of the Buddha are stealing. So that is stopped spreading of the teachings to the others. Now the Buddha say, I lay the rules uh, also because to protect the others' confidence, others' trust in the teachings, and also to protect your mindfulness. So there are many reasons why Buddha like that Buddha laid the training rules. Now every one of the monks, nuns, men, lay women, and whoever practicing the teachings has this bond where the Buddha give the instructions and they all together they practice it in order to reach to the awakening. So there is a goal why one spend their life like that, abstaining all of these things. Because once when the mind is fully cleansed, when the mind is fully awakened, there is no way that they can steal. With they don't steal. There is no way intentionally doing that. There is no way with the purity, with the pure mind, one cannot kill a living being. Intentionally, they cannot kill a living being. They cannot deceive another because it is said that all these actions start with the mind. So when the mind is impure, the actions will also be impure. Now, when a person see in the among the monks community, let's say that there is a person who see somebody is killing. So what normally the other friend, the monk friend do is that they try to help this person to avoid that killing. There is such a practice in the community so that they will altogether protect the living beings. Let's say that as a monk that I harm the living being, so whoever see that I would think, okay, this monk is also harming living being. Why not me? So I will also start to harm living beings. So that way there is this connection with each other. Have you heard before Buddha become a Buddha, he was lived in the palace and he was married, Bodhisattva. So he was the prince in the country. Now they both together living as spouses. They had a child. So he was called Rahula. So this child later, while he was 7 years old, he also entered to the ordination. So he was also became a monk. Now this child, like this little monk, when he was wake up, he after he cleaning, he go to the monastery and he sweep the ground, and he collect all the dried leaves and he throw the dried leaves away, and he clean this place to be beautiful. And it is said that every day after cleaning, he take like some sand into his hand and he throw at the sand into the like to this space, and he do a wish. He think just as the sand here in this full of sand that I'm spreading, may I also have such guidance, such advices, such instructions throughout the day to day. May I get such advices into my life, which means that implies this monk thought that there is a complete liberation, there is a complete cleansing of the heart, and that can be achieved through uh, through the instructions and through the practice. may I receive all the instructions that there is in the Dhamma so that I can uh, cleanse my mind. I can make pure my mind. I can reach to the total awakening. Which means, so the Dhamma talk about the life, and that Dhamma teach us about letting go all the negative things, all the unskillful things. So this monk were to do that every day when he was wake up. So, friends, that is the this is the connection in the community that while they were living. So that develops the mindfulness, that develops the helps to develop the practice. And now I'm going to share the teaching with you, friends. I think you have learned this teaching before, but because this connect with our discussion that we are having these days, I will try to connect this with our ongoing discussion. Uh, this is called Kaya Sutta. Kaya means the body. Bhikkhus, now the Buddha say, there are things to be abandoned by body, not by speech. There are things to be abandoned by speech, not by body. There are things to be abandoned neither by body nor by speech, but by having repeatedly seeing with wisdom. Okay, this is kind of a summary about the teaching that he is going to teach us. Now, first, Buddha said in the first line, there are things to be abandoned by the body, not by speech, which means specifically there are things to be abandoned in the body, which means this is talking about the actions. There are things to be abandoned by body. There are things in our bodily actions to be abandoned, but not by speech, which means we cannot abandon that by speech, but we must abandon that by body. You'll understand this more when we go. There are things to be abandoned by speech, not by body. There are specific things to be abandoned by speech, but not by body. And next Buddha said, there are things to be abandoned neither by body nor by speech, but by having repeatedly seen with wisdom. Okay. Now let's recall, friends, during our last discussion, we learned about the bodily misconduct and bodily good conduct. How many bodily deeds there are which lead to um, impurity in the life, according to the previous session? Can somebody name?
There are three.
There are three. Yes.
Killing, theft, and sexual misconduct.
Yes, exactly. Those are the misconducts, and the opposite is the good conduct. Okay. Uh, protecting living beings, not stealing and not doing sexual misconduct. That is the good side. That is the skillful side. And there is this good conduct and bad conduct. Okay. Now there are three by the body. Now next, Buddha say about the speech. How many there are with the speech and the misconduct? How many misconducts by the speech? Can somebody remember?
4.
Yes, there are 4. Can somebody name?
Speech.
False speech.
Lying.
Lying is the false speech. Yes.
Divisive speech.
Divisive speech. Yes.
Harsh speech.
Harsh speech. Yes. Fourth one.
Idle.
Yeah, idle chatter.
Idle
Pointless
chatter.
talk. Idle chatter. So by number there are 4, and those are the misconduct according to the Buddhist discipline. And the very opposite is the good conduct, which means talking truth and not deceiving others, talking something to unite everybody, and speaking about the gentle words, speaking gentle words, and speaking rich words which let others to awaken. So those are the good conduct, the right word in the Buddhist teachings. Now, Buddha say in that sutta, there are things to be abandoned by the body, not by the speech. There are things to be abandoned by the speech, not by the body, which means you come to the good conduct, you come to the skillful conduct, you stop abstaining or you stop by killing living beings. You don't stop killing living, you stop killing living beings. You come to the good conduct. By that way, you abandon the wrong conduct. Okay? You abandon the wrong conduct. You abandon by coming to protecting others' properties, you come to the good conduct, you don't steal. And you also come to the abandoning sexual misconduct, you come to the good conduct. Now, how do we do that? How do we come to the good conduct? It is by abandoning the negative things, abandoning the bad conduct, we come to the good conduct. Now, is it a rule? Now, is it a rule? What is normally a rule? Let's say now there are governmental rules and rules in the road. So what are the rules? What does that mean by rule? In our ordinary life, in our society, we have rules. Now those rules are something to avoid. Should never do that for any purpose. If we drive fast in a certain place, which there is a rule, that let's say if we drive fast, it might take us, like the police might ask us for 10 bucks if you drive so fast in that place. So now it is a rule. We don't drive fast because of the rule. Okay. Now it is this the rule in the government and rule in the our community, our society. So then we start to fright. We fright to do that. We have kind of a scare, like fear to do that. We have fear to commit that. Okay, that is how the rule. But when it comes to the precept means you replace your actions. Now there is a moment if somebody asks us to kill a living being. What we do is that even in the midst of a killing, we avoid that by protecting that living being. We don't do, like, let's say we see a person is killing a living being. We don't think like, okay, that person is killing a living being, so I should run away from this place. No, we try to involve with that and we try to find an opportunity to protect that being. It is not kind of a command that we avoid that, we stop that, but we find the opportunities to protect that being. Let's say there is a person speaking lies, and in that way, in that moment, we don't go and we don't try to escape from that place, but we try to speak the truth. We try to reveal the truth. We find the opportunities. I mean, it might not be every time it might not be the place to speak truth. There can be like moments, like situations that we can express the truth. But to win the force, we need to speak the truth. Let's say I say that during the meditation retreat that you should not talk. That doesn't mean that you stop all the talks, but you replace that your talk, your ordinary talk, with the talk of the Dhamma. So you can talk about the teachings, you can talk about the loving kindness, you can talk about the mindfulness. It is not a rule, but it is something to help and support you to nurture your life, to increase your mindfulness. Okay, so now Buddha say it is to be practiced. There is a moment that we come to the good conduct, and we avoid all the bad conduct. That doesn't mean you stop everything, but you try to uh, dwell inside the good conduct. You keep on doing good things. Avoiding killing doesn't mean that you don't protect living beings, but you start to find and protect the living beings.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yes.
Let's say the killing of beings, I understand that we would want to protect the living beings,
Yes.
but what about, like, do we do anything about the person who is killing or lying, or is this basically just our own conduct we're talking about?
We are starting our own conduct.
Okay.
We are talking about our own conduct because even if we want to um, make other people not to steal, we should give the example from ourselves. That's
Got it.
how the person start to, if we want that person to start to transform, like we need to give the inspiration for them through our lives. Why? Because without having an example through us, if we go to instruct others, it doesn't work. Let's say that I speak pointlessly and I tell others don't to speak pointlessly. Well, take the Buddha as the example. The Buddha doesn't speak pointlessly. So we give the inspiration by our lives to the others. Don't like we should not speak the pointless talk. Then that's how this goes. Like we don't like look at others. Like the Dhamma is not to be looked in others' lives, but it should be looked at our lives. It is to ourselves, and we make us like come to our correct conduct, and when then next we inspire others around us to follow that. That's how it worked. If the Buddha were to instruct us, oh, you should not kill, but while Buddha was killing, we won't listen to the Buddha's teachings because we know that it is not enlightenment. It is not. It is not something to be practiced. But we try our best to come to the good conduct, and we try to inspire others. And we don't say out loud, okay, look at me, that I don't kill, so you should also be like me. First, we are making ourselves correct, like come to the good conduct. Um, but there is misery in the world. There are beings doing bad conduct. That is why Buddha say in the previous session we also talked about this. That is why there is the higher realms and the lower realms, because it comes as a result. If there were beings in, let's say, in the human life, there is no one who commit bad things. There is only good actions. There will not be a lower realms. There will not be any animals, any living beings, any ghosts, any demons. Why that exists is because it is a result of the action one did in their human life. And why there are higher realms is because they did good action by themselves, and that is why it exists, because it's a result of an action. Okay, that is how we should understand about this Buddhist perspective about these other realms. Now, so the Buddha say, now we come to the good conduct and we avoid bad conduct. And now Buddha say in that sutta, let's go quickly to that sutta. I'll share again. Now here Buddha say, because there are things to be abandoned by body, not by speech. The meaning of the first line is that um, we cannot avoid killing by speaking. Like it is not a rule in this word. It is not a rule among the word. It is a rule to be applied in the body. which means suppose there is a person is harming living beings. Now to support him, to cleanse his life, he need to follow the rule of abstaining from killing beings. That's how he abandoned that. But it is not by speech, which means we don't keep on speaking, okay, I should abandon living beings, I should abandon killing living beings, I should abandon killing living beings, but it should be practiced by the body. Does that make sense, friends? Let's say there is a person stealing. Now, that is not to be abandoned by speech. It is to be abandoned by body, which means we don't speak with another. Okay, look, in my life, I will never steal. I will never steal. I will never do any bad things by my body. So start a conversation with others. Look at me, like next day, tomorrow, I will start or everything to follow, and I don't kill living beings from tomorrow. So we talk by speech. So the Buddha say, as soon as we come to the good conduct, we start protecting living beings. We abandoned bad conduct. Now it is safe. Now your actions are safe. Now, in Buddhist perspective, you are pure. You are pure. You have pure actions. But Buddha said, not by speech. This is what sometimes people do. Like by speech, they try to abandon the bad actions. There are things to be abandoned by speech, not by body. I don't know. This is a way that Buddha teach. It's a way that it's the Buddha system of teaching. He say, there are things to be abandoned by speech, not by body, which means to abandon the wrong speech, one should come to the good speech. Let's say there is a person who speak always, let's say, false, untruth. So there is a person who is always lying. Now to abandon that lying, one should come to the truth. So that person thinks, today on I start speaking good words. I will only speak the truth. And that is not to be done by body. Can somebody give me an example for this? Running away from the place, sometimes there can be a place that people is speaking lies or pointless discussions or divisive words. We try to let go that by body. How? By running away. No, no, no. I should not leave that place because everybody speak lies. I'll go somewhere else. I try to avoid that by body. Buddha say, no, no, not like that, but by speech, which means you speak the truth. Let's say there are people speaking pointless talks. We don't think, okay, I should not stay here. I should better go somewhere else. That is a attempt to stop that by escaping from that place. It is not like that. It is by coming to the good speech. We might speak about good things, like we can when we speak the Dhamma, when we speak the fruitful things, like the good things, we can inspire the other person to start to speak the good things. Let's say somebody bring up me a discussion about a wrong or fault point of another. Somebody might tell me, like, that person walks like this, it is not good. That person not should walk like that, he should walk this way. Let's say that person brings such a conversation, a fault point of another. I should not involve with that by telling, oh yeah, I saw that person was walking like that. No, but we come to the good conduct. We come to the good speech. We start speaking about the Dhamma. I don't know, it depends with the experience. It depends with the situation. But that way we can avoid that wrong conduct. We don't want to escape from that place. By being in that place, we start speaking the good words. So that's how we avoid that.
Monty,
Yes.
that makes sense. I really like the idea of how you don't use your body to correct something that should be corrected by speech.
Yes.
But in the case of, let's say you're speaking the truth, but you're speaking it to someone who lies all the time, but they're going to keep lying even if you keep telling the truth. Do you eventually avoid someone like that, or how do you think that would work out?
I think that time we can pause. We can pause. We don't like if we already know that person is lying, we can pause if we cannot enter to that discussion because it is Buddha doesn't even it is truth. Buddha doesn't always speak truth. He doesn't speak it always. Like he look for the opportunity. He look for the situation. Let's say
Right.
that is a truth, but it cannot be the always the right time to speak that.
So you really have to evaluate on a situation by situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
But we keep that principle in us. Oh, this is how I can overcome this person who tell me lies. To overcome this person, must rely on the truth. I must rely on the fact. That's how that is the principle there. That is the law there, which means we don't keep on lying to a person who lies us because there will not be any freedom, any situation to let us free. Why? Because it is always always lying. To win a person who lies, would they say you should speak the truth? Not always, but looking at the situation. But still, the principle is to response with the truth, with the facts.
But wouldn't it be appropriate just to not associate with that person?
Well, that's the best. That's the best solution.
Yeah.
That is why Buddha say to be associate with the wise, not to associate with the fool.
Yeah.
Do you remember the loving kindness
Yeah.
sutta? Buddha say, yeah, associate. Because when we are in a place where there is vulnerable to the misconduct, there is like this justifying the actions. People say, oh, it's okay to steal from the people who have many. They have lots of things. Why don't you steal? Like they can take care about that. But everybody love their possessions, even they have many. Like the people who have many might have many attachments, like too much attachment when they have many. Like I don't know, but it's my idea. But there can be such attachments, like they love their possessions, like we do. Like when we were to steal and we go to a group where there is people steal, that they might justify that. Oh, it's okay, it's okay. So we'll never be able to purify the heart, purify the life, purify the mind, according to the Buddhist teachings. So that is why this community is very important. That is why Buddha established a community, not to attack the other people, not to attack the ones who have other views, but to protect the community in order to lead them to the awakening. Because Buddha saw that one need to restrain their actions in order to reach to the awakening. So, among the Buddha's teachings, if there is a person who committed a killing, it said that cannot stay. Like even though that this person is among the monks, like there were such a moments happened in the Buddhist time. There were monks who killed in order to escape from the government, what they did was that they ordained. They ordained as a monk, and he's living in the monk's community. Now nobody see that. But the Buddha said, even though that person were to catch my robe and start to step just like me and start to copy me and follow me and stay like the shadow of me, but he's very far from me. Buddha say it is like an arrow dropped in the darkness that I don't see that arrow. Like that way, when there is a person who committed a bad action but living in the midst of the monks community, that person doesn't belong to me, Buddha said. But this is very interesting discussion. I mean, like when we talk about the discipline, mostly people avoid that. Um, and like, yeah, this is also what that my elder Bante said. It is very important to teach about the virtue, and that way developing the mindfulness, because anyone can get the mindfulness. He gave me a very beautiful simile. He said, uh, now suppose monk, now this elder Bhante said me, now suppose monk, uh, you give up all your, he talked about the perspective of a householder. He said, you give up all your money, you give up all your house, your family, and you give everything up, and you stay just without anything. Now there is a concentration, there is mindfulness when you do that. He said, when you avoid everything, you attached, and you gave them everything, you have a little bit mindfulness. You can get that mindfulness, such a immediately. Now the Bhante said, but that is not correct way. But there is a development. You should come to the virtue. Based on the virtue, you should meditate. And with the meditation, it opens up you to the awakening. But so this Bhante said, in the mainstream mindfulness, you won't find that, because people easily like to go to easy things, like immediate things. And the Bhante said, you can attain that for sure. You can easily get that, but that is not the right way. It can bring up many other problems later.
So if you attain it easily, then you might not be able to sustain it.
Exactly. That is the point. Wow, thank you. I was just going to say that, but you brought that. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'll complete the other part also, but I won't explain because we don't have time. There are, next Buddha said, there are things to be abandoned neither by body nor by speech, but by having repeatedly seen with wisdom. Not by body, not by speech, but having repeatedly seen with wisdom. Here Buddha talks about the mental training, which means you came to the good conduct by body and speech as soon as you come to the precepts. Now you got the virtue, but there is something else to abandon by repeatedly seen with the wisdom. That is where you need the wisdom to cleanse your mental actions. Now, can we lay the rules to our mind? Can we lay a rule? Can we give a precept to our mind? Compared to the body and speech, we say, okay, no, don't kill living beings and don't speak falsehood. And can we give such a training precept to our mind? Okay, today on, don't get angry. Is that gonna
You
work?
can't.
I observe the precept of not getting angry. Can we protect that?
You cannot. It's impossible.
But you can do it with you can do it with practice.
Exactly.
Right.
That is what he said.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said, having repeatedly seen with wisdom, you should abandon that anger. There are no rules. There are no rules for the mind. It is to abandon by wisdom. through the wisdom, repeatedly watching your mind and attacking those angry thoughts using the loving kindness, replacing with the loving kindness. Very easy to do the bodily and speech good conduct because it is visible to us. Whenever we see a living being, I'm just taking these for the examples. Like there is a living being, now this person is going to kill. Like we can stop that. Somebody might tell us, don't kill that. It is not belong to the good conduct. But like that, can we take a rule to our mind? I would like the Buddha would say, okay, don't get angry. But does he see that we don't like we get angry? Any other people do they see us getting angry?
Not always. You can't always tell.
We cannot always tell, but we ourselves should look at our heart
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
through the wisdom try to abandon and replace it with the loving kindness. Sometimes people say, no, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. But there can be anger inside, but we don't look at like that in a judgmental way, but they themselves should make that. There can be a person, he's very calm, very gentle, very peaceful, but in the heart there can be anger. There can be a person who is with a very rough behavior, but that person might carry loving kindness. Who knows? You know Angulimala. He wanted, like he killed, but he had this seed in his heart to completely eradicated all the defilements, and he completely cleansed his mind. Buddha say never judge others. You cannot do that. Buddha say Buddha himself, or I think I don't remember, but as I remember, it says only the Buddha can read the others' minds and know about that particular person. And that person, the Buddha can tell about that person, but any others cannot, Buddha say. Because there can be good-hearted people in their heart and not in their bodies.
But if you get angry
Yeah,
and you're arguing with someone,
yeah,
that other person understands that you're angry, can see it from either your speech or your facial expressions. So how does that jive with what you just said?
have you ever get angry and you try your best not to show and smiled?
Yeah, but they can, other people can see it. You could smile and they know you're angry. I know they're judging, but
No, yeah.
they can feel it.
Well, that's just not to take too much literally. I mean, like through the experience, we can see that. Um, Not always, because um, yeah, we cannot say. Like, let's say a person is smiling or getting. Let's say that you looked at a person and you read in in their expressions that they looked angry, but that might not like that.
Yeah, it's not always. You
It's not
obviously,
always, yeah.
no, for
I
sure.
mean, yeah,
Yeah.
let's say fear, let's take the fear, not anger. Like anger is very powerful. Let's say fear, um, person might get fear, but they can pretend that they are not frightened.
It's kind of the same thing with lying. Sometimes people aren't
Exactly.
trying to deceive you, they're actually trying to protect themselves. So I can see where judging is, we can't really do that because we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. That is why it is said by the Buddha that you must come to the good conduct in
Yeah,
order to let go the wrong conduct, because that is where the protection starts. That is
yeah.
where you start to practice something to understand about the life. understand about the situations. That is where you start. That is the initial steps you start. But if we were to look at others and we were to say that, okay, that person gets angry, that person does not angry, that person might not have anger in their heart.
Yeah, some people there's fear, they smile.
Yes.
They look
Well, that
happy.
is what that's something we try to do. Like when we are getting fear, we like not to show up the fear to others.
Mhm.
We try not to show up it from our expressions. Even when a person get angry at a loved one, sometimes they try their best not to show up. But anger is to be abandoned. But that has to done by the wisdom, continuously applying the skillful thinking, and to release us from the anger by applying loving kindness. Let's say we don't do anything like that. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Why? Because we don't know who is that person, what that person talks, what that person does.
You know, um, uh, sometimes when I read, I get a very focused, serious look, and my kids used to always say, why are you so mad?" I'm not mad, I'm just focusing, but it's a facial expression. But in the same way, a person could hide anger, maybe not even consciously, they just do it automatically. But we have to be able to see that ourselves in ourselves.
Yeah. Well, this is talking about the practice. This is not talking about our ordinary life, like regular day-to-day life. This is talking about the practice, which
Right.
means when a person come to the practice, that they are very much devoted to that and to correct their actions. Do you remember that we talked that for them it appears to them like the wrong conduct as big as a cloud. Oh, I'm getting angry inside. I should let it go. This is very dangerous. It is very powerful. Yeah. It is about a practice. It is not about a like looking at the others or why that person is like this, why that person is like that. But it is about looking at ourselves and what is the problem in us, so that it could manifest into other actions. Yeah.
It's complicated.
Um, what is complicated?
Well, I guess I look at myself and my age and how long I've been doing things a certain way and how it's all kind of in a big tight ball, you know, and I sort of have to start unraveling a lot of that now. Every little thing, like I'm just thinking, oh my God, it's going to take me eons to do this. But I mean, a person's got to start, right? At some point.
Um, no, I don't think it take that long, because if you start today, and if it inspires you, it will. If you have the power, enough power, it is all about the our strength. If we have big strength and energy in us, we can overcome that, and we can find a very much big happiness inside by doing the right things. And is there any other happiness than having righteousness to yourself? Like
Good
you,
point.
yeah, if your mind always tells you it is right to do this, it is right to do that, uh, is there any other happiness than agreeing to your conscience by doing something? If it aligns with your conscience, I'm sorry, if something is aligning with your righteousness, there's no any other happiness than that.
I found an example this week and last week. I had lost a contract I was working. I think I mentioned it to you. And originally I was angry.
Yeah.
and I had to write a letter. I was going to write a long letter, but I waited. I thought about what we were just talking about, and it's not going to do me any good to get angry and to get the other person angry. So I've written something that's very short. It's positive, very positive, and it's going to make the other person think, why is he being so nice after what we did? And it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm not angry, and I've got no resentment or anything.
Buddha say one day a man came to the Buddha. He was a trainer of the elephants. He said, Buddha, I take the elephants to the city. While while I'm taking these elephants, they show up everything they do. They show up their hunger, they show up their anger, they show up their greed. They show it up by their body, elephants. And this man say, Buddha, the human being will never show you like that. They speak something, but they have something else inside. They do something, but they have completely different thing in their mind. But elephants show that, animals show that, but this human being doesn't show that. It's a very beautiful part. Buddha say, that's very true. That's very true. If I were to have a person with straight actions, I teach the Dhamma morning. In the evening, that person become enlightened. If that person is true to himself and honest and has no any crooked actions, just straightforward. I teach morning, that person becomes enlightened in the evening. He say, I teach evening, next morning he become enlightened. What are these problems? Problems in our actions, especially in our mental actions, not just our bodily actions. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, friends, thank you so much for joining with me. Thank you being with me. And also may you be well, happy and peaceful. Take care, friends. See you next time. Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you to Bante.
Thank you.
Namo Buddhaya.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bante. Namo Buddhaya. Everyone saranai.
Terima saranai. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Thank you, Bante.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya
Thank you,
Bante.
Bante.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya.
Namo
Everyone
Buddhaya.
saranai, Bante.
Terima
Bante, be
saranai.
well and happy.
Okay, I'm happy.